How do the people in your world conceptualize the soul?
Ah, Harold. Good to see you at last.
And you, Professor? Been keeping well?
Let's not waste time talking about ourselves, shall we?
Are we really so short of time?
No, not short of time, but I'm sure we both appreciate a direct and succinct approach.
Why, yes.
Then what do you have to report? What have you learned recently?
Most recently, I've been learning about how the locals conceptualize the soul.
I'm surprised they have ideas in that regard.
Well, my experience with them has shown them to be thoughtful and considered, so I was not surprised. They conceptualize the world into four distinct elements: Pi, Mwangwa, Reno, and Tsai, or matter, water, life, and breath. These elements interact via three processes: Watre, Nane, and Ki, which means burning or sublimation, preservation, and coalescence.
I see you've picked up the local language, but there's no need for it in your report to me.
As you wish. So matter is inert, like stones, soil, and so on, but when imbued with life, it becomes alive, like plants and animals. If we consider animals for a moment, they are matter that has been imbued with life. However, the process of being alive and moving about burns up or sublimates that life, and produces breath as a waste product. The locals use this to explain why people and animals are hot to the touch.
I see. Go on.
Well, to replenish one's life, one must consume matter imbued with life, like animals or plants, and the locals explain hunger as being such, as well as hunger feeling stronger after great moments of exertion. And this is where water comes in.
Water being distinct from matter?
Yes, due to its different properties. Most matter is seen as spongy with regards to holding life, and water is seen as a way to keep life from seeping out of matter. This is the process called nane, preservation, which also slows down the burning or sublimation process that converts life into breath. This explains why when we exert our bodies, we feel thirsty as a means for our bodies to seek to reduce the amount of burning within us, and we sweat as a physical reaction to literally prevent the fire inside us from consuming us. Likewise, blood is a form of water that keeps life within, as are tears. For when we weep, does it not feel as though life is seeping out of us?
A charming, albeit primitive conceptualization, to be sure.
Well, that's the main idea.
You've not described the aforementioned coalescence.
Ah, yes, of course. Well, within this metaphorical framework, shall we call it, things can only physically burn if they have life within them, like wood, but not stone. And when wood burns, the smoke is the breath being released as the life within is sublimated.
What do they make of coal, then?
Given that coal burns, they don't consider it to be a stone, but rather a form of matter imbued with life. And in fact, when I told them that we theorize coal is generations of organisms crushed under the earth, they were entirely unsurprised. The question then becomes, how does life get into the wood that makes up the trees? The question of life getting into animals is straightforward enough, as animals simply eat plants or other animals that already contain life. The belief for trees is that life coalesces out of the very air, which is what leaves are for, while the roots draw water from the earth to preserve that coalesced life within themselves. As an aside, this explains why dry wood burns, yet wet wood merely smoulders. The whole process is cyclical, you see. Plants cause life to coalesce into inert matter, which, now imbued with life, is consumed by animals, that through the process of being active then sublimate or burn that life into breath, which is subsequently coalesced by the plants, and so on, with the cycle continuing indefinitely.
Fascinating. Is that the whole system?
Well, no, but those are its basic axioms and manifestations.
So they do not have a concept of a soul, as separate from the body and immortal?
Not really, no.
Where does that leave us, then?
Where does that leave us?
Harold, do not forget why you are here. This is not a field trip for you to indulge your anthropological curiosity. You are here, and need I remind you, paid to be here, to provide us with intelligence on how to make the locals more amenable to our influence.
Well, I'm sure they're amenable to trade and so on.
And if not, we will need to know how much resistance they might offer.
You're not suggesting a full-scale invasion, are you?
Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Harold. I must be off now. I look forward to your next report.